It's wonderful to be among so many uh, Sahridayas, as we say, family people really. We're all here together to celebrate several things. One is the 25th year of my organization that is established, the Institute of Geographical Studies. Through that organization, we have all been, I'll introduce people eventually. We've been trying to popularize geography education for school children, particularly high school children, using non-traditional methods and not worrying about any syllabus or curriculum or anything, but rather to make geography itself interesting and to get children to explore curiosity, explore with curiosity rather than being told what they should study. So, a typical geography lesson if you can call it that, with me starts with a question of what do you want to talk about today, and whatever the student says we can take it and make a geography connection. And that is the joy that I have experienced along with students of mine, several of whom are here today. So welcome to all of you for joining us here today. So one is we are celebrating the 25th year of the organization. We are also winding down the organization because of not much going on except for my work. So in a way this is also a valedictory function for the organization. So that's one thing. Secondly, I also wanted to see how many of us could get together. Most of my students are here today. So this event is also a celebration of those children who are now adults and moving on to bigger and better things. Then it's also a celebration of somebody's birthday, which was on the 19th of December. Padma's birthday was on 19th of December. So we're celebrating. So we have a small surprise with which we will celebrate at the end of the proceedings today. We are also celebrating the first visit of some of the people here. Uma there, for example, Dr. Uma, Padma. These are all people who are coming here for the first time. So there's that celebration, and baby Azad, who is now fast asleep. First time he is attending a TIGS event, and I have already told both his parents that he needs to become a geographer. They're going to work on it, I believe. So plus we are celebrating the fact that these two heroes of today's work, Moksha and Amsh, this is their project in geography that they chose what the topic would be. We discussed it, of course, and the choice of topic has not been given to them. So they can never tell anybody, oh, why did you choose this topic? They will never have to say, sir told. No, they chose the topic eventually in discussion. They have made a lovely video documentary on the topic of chilies. So it's going to be a look at chilies, and then you will see what they mean, what they are going to talk about during the video. So very quickly, let me do a quick round of introductions, and after that we will have the video presentation. Following that, there will be time for Q&A. Excuse me. Can you give me just a moment? I have to talk to the driver. Hello. Santosh, ನೀವು ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೇ. Next point, I am known to be a bit of a Nazi about this. Please switch off your cell phones. Please do not check your messages during the proceedings. The world will not end if you don't check your messages, I guarantee you. Partly also it is distracting to the young people who are presenting. It is also disrespectful. They are presenting, so please switch your cell phones off. We should be, so following the presentation of the video, there will be a brief Q&A session. After that, we will have for about 3 or 4 minutes each, a few people will talk about their response to the video. We also have an audio message from my colleague Heidi Nast, who lives in Chicago. So she is going to be, she sent me a message. She is not well. She's been down with COVID, very severe case of COVID. So she said, she sent me a message which we will play after the presentation is done. After her message is played, then we will have a discussion about how we respond to this. We'll give each of you time to respond. So we should be done here by maximum 4:30 will be done. People have been asking, when will it end? When will it end? 4:30. I'm used to this because every teacher's workshop I've conducted, they walk in there, the first question is, where do I collect my TADA? What time it will get over, sir? I've not even started, I'm still setting up a slide projector. That's the first question they have. I tell them, I'm going to go until this time. If you want to leave early, you can. So, no, you can't leave early because these are kids presenting. If I were presenting, this is different. So, thank you all again for coming. Welcome to the launch of this video. Over to you, Guru Raj. Bottle kotti ada. Yeah, please do. Double click. Click on the icon. Yeah.
And chilies grow best in tropical climates, such as in Mexico and India.
Ah.
Oh, spring.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm thinking how this chili came to India, geography and its connection to a blundering explorer.
What? How can they be related?
Well, let's find out. Long ago, on 3rd August 1492, explorer Christopher Columbus set sail to discover a new route to India across the Atlantic Ocean. Back then, everyone was racing to find a sea route from Europe to India.
Racing to India? Why?
They wanted to bring back shiploads of spices such as pepper, cinnamon and cloves, and other expensive things too, such as precious stones, as they could make a lot of money from these.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Some spices had other uses too. For example, during long voyages, pepper was sprinkled on meat to preserve it by masking its rotting taste.
For centuries, these spices were transported from India to Europe by road on animals such as donkeys and camels as part of the famous Silk Route.
Oh, the Silk Route, yeah. It is a network of roads connecting Asia and Europe. It is called the Silk Route because Chinese silk was the most prized and exotic commodity that traveled along this route.
That's right. Some of the commodities being transported were sold in villages and towns along the way, and other commodities were picked up for transport to Europe. By the time they reached Europe, their quantities decreased and prices increased. You see, the farther the product has to travel, the more expensive it becomes.
Why?
Because costs of transportation, preservation, duties, taxes, and even bribes get added to the final price. The royal houses of Europe controlled all trade, including the trade and prices of spices.
So that they could make lots and lots of money to fund their militaries to conquer more and more land.
Absolutely. They also promised to reward the first person to find a sea route to India, so they could then bring shiploads of spices and make even more money.
Actually, who are they?
They are King Ferdinand II and Queen Isabella I.
Actually, it is Isabella in Spanish.
Right. They funded Columbus's voyages with very high expectations that he would conquer lands, bring back riches and would enslave people. And thus began the race for finding India by sea.
Like that, right?
Not by speedboats to read, but by these. Columbus decided to sail southwestward from Spain. Upon reaching the Canary Islands, he decided to use the easterlies to turn towards his destination and continue through.
Easterlies? Oh yeah, they blow from the east and so are called easterlies.
Right. He imagined that the next big landmass would be Asia. He did not have any idea that he would encounter two other landmasses, North and South America and the islands of the Caribbean.
He landed in the Bahamas, part of what is now known as the West Indies.
However, he thought he was in North Asia, so he decided to sail south to reach India. There, his anchored ship, Santa Maria, ran aground,
Poor guy.
so he left 39 of his men in Cuba and returned to Europe in another ship, using the trade winds and the westerlies.
What are trade winds now? And the westerlies are the opposite of easterlies, right?
Oh yeah, the trade winds blow from the northeast in the northern hemisphere. They are very reliable, so they are very commonly used by sailors.
Great! Let me remember what happened next. We went on a few more voyages, and that is how we found places that we now know as South America, the West Indies, and so on, right?
Right, and everywhere he went, he kept calling the people Indians. Actually, Indios in Spanish. This is why the Caribbean is known as the West Indies. He decided he had discovered the new world. Of course, it was not new at all. Many civilizations had existed there, centuries before he and his crew showed up.
During these voyages, he and his crew found many new and interesting things, didn't they?
Oh yes, among them was a small plant with bright red fruit. The native people used it in their food and medicines.
Oh, I know what it is.
Columbus and his crew thought it would be a tasty, sweet fruit and bitten it. But when they did, they got a huge fire started in their mouths. When the tops of their heads had blown off, their eyes watered, their noses ran, their ears ran, they gasped.
How the natives must have laughed.
Yeah, after they finally calmed down, they decided that this tasted just like that pepper from India that someone had given them back in Europe. The natives called this fruit chili.
We call it chili.
Columbus brought the chilies back to Spain and Portugal, and people started growing them. Humans have been consuming chilies for a very long time now,
Since when, bro?
at least 7,500 BCE. They collected them in the wild in modern-day Peru and Bolivia. Chilies are among the oldest cultivated crops in the Americas. In 2014, researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, said that people started domesticating the chilies in many locations across the Americas 6,000 years ago.
That's in about 4,000 BCE? Yeah.
This includes what we now call Ecuador, and East Central Mexico, Highland Peru and Bolivia, and the Amazon. They based all of this on their work in archaeology.
How the chilies got to India is still a mystery. One hypothesis is that the Portuguese got it to Goa.
Yeah, you see, Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer, had colonized Goa earlier in 1543. He was actually the first one to find a sea route from Europe to India in 1498.
Oh!
From India, chilies have traveled through Central Asia and Turkey to Hungary, where they became its national spice in the form of paprika.
India not only gave the world pepper and so many other spices along with precious gems, it also received many things in return.
The chili is among them. And chilies grow best in tropical climates.
Such as in Mexico and India?
Yeah, they do not thrive in drought or difficult conditions, as they need a lot of nutrients to produce their heat.
But it seems to grow in temperate climates too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Unlike pepper vines, chilies can also grow in temperate climates.
India has been the largest producer of dry red chilies in the world. However, China has been producing the most fresh green chilies.
What about in India?
Oh, in India, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana states grow the most amount of chili, followed by the dry regions of northern Karnataka. This is due to the black soil in those regions. The dry weather is helpful in fruit maturation and ripening.
Hence, food in these regions is very hot.
Note that this is what we mean by hot.
Chilies are grown and consumed more in hot and dry areas.
This is because they make you salivate and sweat, and you will not get dehydrated due to the extreme heat. Chilies are hot due to a special chemical in them known as capsaicin.
Oh,
Yeah, it is a defense mechanism against various threats such as fungal diseases and mammals. The higher the capsaicin content, the more resistant the fruit is to its threats.
I know that chili plants need a lot of energy to produce capsaicin. But why are smaller chilies spicier than larger ones?
Maybe you should Google it. No, you see, the chili plants need less energy to make a smaller fruit. That leaves it more energy for making capsaicin. This is why smaller chilies are spicier than the larger ones. Mammals.
And that includes us too.
Yeah, we too have a certain receptor in our mouths. Capsaicin triggers it. So when this happens, we think that we are on fire. But we humans have learned that it is just a sensation, and we enjoy it.
But I do not.
However, birds do not have this receptor, so they are not sensitive to capsaicin. Many birds do eat the chilies without feeling that they are on fire. They help the plant to spread by dispersing its seeds.
Some people can handle more heat or capsaicin than others.
Hence, scientists have created a scientific measure for the heat of chilies, Scoville Heat Units, or SHU, to measure the amount of capsaicin in the chili. For example, the big fat capsicum has no capsaicin, 0 SHU. New Mexico green chilies have 1500 SHU. Jalapenos have 2500 to 5000 SHU. And habaneros have 300,000 SHU.
At room temperature, pure capsaicin is a crystalline to waxy solid. It has no color, no odor, and measures 60 million SHU.
Currently, in 2024, the hottest chili in the world is known as the Pepper X. It grows in Fort Mill, South Carolina, United States, and measures about 2.7 million SHU.
This is not publicly available, right?
No, then officially, the hottest chili is the Carolina pepper, which measures around 2.2 million SHU.
I thought the hottest chili was Indian.
No, but in India, the hottest chili is called Dorset Naga, 1.6 million SHU, followed by Naga Viper, 1.4 million SHU, and Bhut Jolokia, measuring 1.2 million SHU. All of these varieties are from northeastern India.
People argue a lot over which chilies are the hottest. There are also raw chili eating contests.
And what about geography? 25 billion SHU and
Delicious! Chilies are used in many ways across the world. Here are some examples.
in North Karnataka, people dip big fat chilies in batter and deep fry them against quickly. They also eat the smaller, spicier ones raw as an accompaniment with rotis.
Usually when we say milk, we mean milk from buffaloes and cows. Nowadays, some people consume what are known as alternative milks.
These milks are made from plant sources such as almonds, soya and oats. They also make curd using these milks. For this, they use the chili stock as a curdler.
In India, we also have a radio network called Mirchi. Mirchi is a Hindi word for chili.
The capsaicin in a chili makes it an excellent pest and insect repellent. Chili powder is sprinkled around sweets to keep ants away. Chili plants can be grown around crops to avoid pest attack. If chili plants cannot be grown, fresh chilies can be pounded, mixed with water and sprayed to the crops.
In India, chilies and lemons are often hung in front of houses or shops.
Yeah, to ward off the evil eye. In homes, elderly women ward off the evil eye of younger people too.
In India, chili is finely chopped and added to dosa, raita, etc. It is often added to foreign foods to make them more Indian.
We Indians are not fans of bland food. Chilies, a blundering explorer, geography, and India.
Now I know.
But I know. I know. ಇದನ್ನ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೋ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ want to answer question.
Iris, pepper is sprinkled on meat, like preserving it, by masking its rotting taste.
Columbus thought it would be a tasty sweet fruit and bitten it. So when they eat it, that's not. And bitten it. But when they did, they thought a huge fire is having in their mouth. Their nails ran.
Why are you looking at me?
Thanks for watching. Just put there.
ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. So, come on, you come. So, this is the video they made. They have worked very hard on it. I was witness to some of it. His parents have been witness to the entire process. Higher authorities, sorry, excuse me. Higher authorities. And Jyoti gave them go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Jyoti gave them a lot of technical advice along the way and made it all possible. Jyoti's son, Kanishk, is there. He is videographing the whole thing today. He is a tech expert also a student of GOD. And Raja, your sister's son-in-law, also gave them a lot of technical advice. I believe that we saw the acknowledgement there in there. So, if any of you have any questions for either of the brothers, please feel free. Just put your hand up so we know. Yeah.
You can give her the mic.
Where does the genes come from?
Which is? Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah,
Just a question.
genes seems to be very
Oh, I think
strong.
my voice is loud enough. No.
No, but it's a record.
Oh, you can, oh, to recording. Okay.
What did I enjoy the most about making this video?
I think the editing process was the most
Yeah,
enjoying.
it was the most enjoyable.
Okay. So, whoever has the mic will speak. Let's do it that way. The recording will be clearer. Yeah.
Okay.
Pratap,
Yeah. So, I was curious. Maybe I should know this, but I didn't do my homework. Maybe. But what motivated you to pick this particular topic for geography? I mean, I've been part of TIGS on and off. So why this?
That was actually during our interactions with Bala sir. This was one of his blogs that was there in his website. We used that as a framework for the project, and he suggested this blog, so that was why
Yeah,
we
and
chose
it was
it.
a
And it was an
nice-
interesting
Yeah,
topic
it was
as
the
well.
most interesting.
No, he threw. He,
not to say that.
no, he gave him
It
one
was
of
the
the
most
ideas.
interesting
Yeah.
topic that we found in his section
Blogs.
of blogs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that we could relate to,
Can I ask another question?
or rather, sir told.
Yes.
yeah. Please.
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I see you mentioned China, right? You mentioned, but why didn't you mention Thailand? I mean, isn't Thai food like really spicy? I mean, I have no idea.
We
I'm just
mentioned
saying
China by the
Silk
statistical
Road.
point of view,
Oh, but it's Silk. Oh,
But because
gotcha.
of the
Of course.
and also the statistical point of view where China has the highest record of the amount of chilies grown, the production of chilies.
The
And
use
that
of
is it.
chilies in cuisines around the world, they didn't know that.
right. So I got it. The Silk Road. My fault. Lastly, have you noticed that in all the hot countries they eat spicy food?
Yes, that also. that
Yes,
was
I know you
mentioned.
mentioned that. That was very good because to
Yes.
cover up the
We have noticed
things
it
going
even
off
in
right?
India itself.
You cover up like Ethiopia and
Yeah.
etc. etc. That's all.
So,
I'll give others a chance.
Aruna wanted to say something. Here's the mic. Please,
No, I asked already.
ask in the mic so that we have a good recording.
No, I just wanted to ask you, what did you enjoy the most about making this?
I think the editing process was the
Editing
most
process
enjoyable.
was the most enjoying. Putting the things together on the timeline, yeah. That is it.
Anyone else wants to ask any
Yeah.
question or comment? Yeah.
Okay. I just want to ask some personal
Please also
question.
introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Pramila Ravindra from Mysore. I just want to ask you one personal question. So, if you want to order a food, if the spice level is 1 to 10, what will be your
recommendation?
I think for me and my brother, I think it would be 1 because we don't eat spicy food at all.
Yeah,
Good topic you chose.
That's why even in the video he mentioned that he does not enjoy the heat of the capsicum.
You did mention chilies are grown in northeast of India,
Yeah.
right? You
Yes.
did mention that
Yes.
it is grown. Northerners don't eat chilies.
But
Their food is super bland.
Oh, sorry.
this is northeast India.
Okay.
Northeast India.
Try
Northeast
Bihar,
India they do
try
have
Rajasthan,
spicy food.
Yeah, but that okay.
Those
Punjab.
are cold regions, okay?
Punjab, no,
Not
they don't
so
eat.
much, but yeah, they eat raw chili with their salad.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't put chili in the food.
exactly. Punjab is not. Punjabis don't eat spicy food. Yeah.
Hot climate.
So the northeast.
The northeast, yes.
Kate there has a, can you pass back to Kate?
Northeast has got the hottest chili.
Oh, my God. I still remember the one day I ate in Northeast.
Let's ask Kate ask.
I was wondering if this project changed the way that you thought about food in India. One of the things that I find so interesting about all of these new world imports, we think of a lot of Indian or Chinese food as being fundamentally spicy. But it's only been in the last several hundred years. So did it change the way that you thought about food here, knowing that this migration happened from the New World?
So before this, I think we used other forms of spice. We had pepper and cinnamon and cloves, etc. The chili is a newer addition. That is right.
Anyone else have a question or a comment?
Okay, so you guys decided to present this project in the form of a documentary. Was there any particular reason that you chose to make it as a documentary?
There was already
That was the original plan. This project was adopted after we had the plan of representing something as a documentary.
So making a documentary was
That was the
idea.
first plan.
Was the original topic was the next choice.
Anybody else have a question or comment? Yeah,
Sure.
Sarah?
This is a slightly personal question, but do you have like a favorite chili, like kind of chili?
You don't even eat.
Capsicum, zero SHU. Zero SHU capsicum.
big fat capsicums, yeah.
Capsicum, zero SHU.
Anyone else have a question? Comment?
Yeah.
Can you pass the mic to Dr. Nisha?
Thanks for the video, really enjoyed it.
Look up the others can't hear you. That's fine. Just speak
Oh,
up.
okay. So I was curious about how you moved from one aspect of the story to another aspect and how you kept going. Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Or the segue.
Yeah.
Transition from the story.
We didn't
No,
plan
not
it
the
as much.
technical, but just while you were doing the research. Can you talk a
This is
little bit
mostly
about that?
based on the blog again, the blog that Balasar has written. The flow is very similar to that. We just added a little bit more, and that was added at the end.
So,
The
what
order of the story was decided on that.
Okay, so when you read, Balasar's blog, and then when you created this video, what do you feel you gained in terms of knowledge?
Oh, we added a lot more.
We did a lot of research on the top. That was like a basic idea. We added a lot more things because when we have to represent it in the form of a video, we have to. It is more appropriate when we add a lot more content. And
So
when we
can
have
you
to
talk,
conversationally speak about it, we had to make it in a way that we both can speak about it rather than it being in a text format.
Okay.
The last section about the usage of chilies and a few numbers, a few statistics are also what we did our own research on.
His blog was just one page. We added a lot more to it. Added lots more. We researched a lot more.
Okay, thank you.
A lot of research is gone.
Would anyone else like to respond to the video? What you like?
Well, I want to.
Please pass the.
Yeah, perhaps you've already noticed, but I just wanted to further bring to your attention the interesting fact that just as caspacin is actually something toxic produced for the plant's protection.
Exactly.
In fact, it's interesting how almost all the spices we eat are actually toxins produced by plants for their own protection. But somehow we figured out that they're gratifying to us, and we've started using them. So we don't know what other wonders may be hidden in the plant world, which may there are mushrooms that lead us to higher states of consciousness and so on. So there's a whole world waiting out there.
Do something on mushroom.
They're a little young.
Would
Okay.
anyone else like to?
I'll take the last two.
I think this deserves a
Here,
lot
here,
of thought
take
process.
the
I will definitely
Please
write.
speak into the mic from the beginning.
I said this definitely deserves much more thought process from our side also to respond. I will definitely ask more questions, and I don't want to sound stupid in front of so many intellectuals.
No, it's fine. You just
So
ask
I
it.
can do it personally with you. Wonderful, wonderful.
No,
Excellent.
it's fine.
job.
You can ask it. There is no such thing as.
One big mail I'll write to you.
Okay.
Anyone?
Anyone
I'll
else?
take the final one.
Yeah.
I think Columbus needed a navigator, don't you all?
Yes, that is.
He was missing somebody at the nav team.
You guys.
I think he
But
navigated
nevertheless,
well.
he did give us a lot.
I think he navigated in the right direction. He had all the
had a
navigation
good-
perfect. He just had no idea. That was
didn't have a
knowledge
good
available
team.
to him then.
No geography at that time. Was not fully.
There was geography. There's a lot of geography. How he used the wind pattern to move in that
Exactly.
direction without spending too much time or energy to move in that direction. He was moving against some of the
That was
winds.
just a joke because I work for NASA, so I had to finish with that. Thank you.
Instead of landing in the moon, they land in the sun. Then.
Yeah,
We've done that at JPL.
Let me do a round of introductions.
sure. Yeah.
So we all have some idea of who are all here. I'll just start from the front and just work my way to the back in no particular order. Jyoti there is Kanish's mother, among other accomplishments. She's a filmmaker herself. So she's been a huge influence on these two guys' work, producing this video. So that's, and there is Kanmani. Kanmani is Dr. Mutata's daughter. Dr. Mutata has been with TIGS for a long time. She's been a very important guiding influence on our work. So thank you for all that and for being here today with us. And this is Mr. Naresh Rao, who is the parent, one of the higher authorities of these two guys. And this is Dr. Uma Ramamurthy. She's a biostatistician? No, computer scientist. So she lives in Houston. So she's visiting India now. She decided to come and join us today for this event, and was planning some trips together and all that. Very old friend of mine. And there you have the higher authorities for Medha, Mrs. Ganga and Mr. Vishwanatha. No, these are the, yeah. Chili pens are there. So, both of them have given me the gift of their daughter, Medha, as a student. Medha is now applying to colleges in the US and has been getting some very promising offers. She is now in a position of what my professor used to call a happy dilemma. So she gets to choose which school she'll go to. So that's very nice. And Ramana is one of our neighbors here and one of the chief persons. I'll introduce you to some of the others who have been very helpful in making this event possible. Padma is ex of NASA. She's now still a consultant to NASA, you know. Yeah, she's a NASA engineer. First time I met her was at Koshi's in Bangalore. Where else?
Far away from NASA.
Far away from NASA. And I was introduced to her. Prem Koshi introduced me, and I just had to ask her. I said, "Hey Padma," she said, "What? Has anyone ever told you, hey, come on Padma, this is not rocket science?" She said, "Yes, they have." So that's how I remember that was the first conversation we had. Padma has been involved with TIGS in many ways. She's come to our conferences, given talks to children about satellites particularly, and how satellites and geography help us in so many things.
The importance of geography in the
Thank you.
space world.
In the space world. So it's all we keep looking up, that those satellites are looking back down at us and telling us about ourselves. So that's very important, and kids have loved those presentations. I remember one of the most important statements that Padma used to make in those presentations is, who knows, the first person to land on Mars might be in this audience. Kids loved it. Absolutely loved it. Oh, cheery sheep. So do you scream. And we have Pranit, who's a local Mysore student of 9th standard. He's kind of checking out what is all this geography all about. So I hope you enjoyed it. He's not going to say no, of course, right? So you tell me when you're going back, you tell me what he tells you in the privacy of your car. Next is Pramila. I don't know what you do, but she's the one who has made it possible for Pranix to join us today. So thank you very much for bringing him along. Thank you for being here also. Next door is Sujata Ramana's spouse. Sujata has been another very important person in my life here because part of this neighborhood, neighborly connections and so on. We connect on a lot of other things also. Then we have Geeta. Geeta and her husband Naresh, the Nareshes, or as I call them, comrades Naresh. They made so much. I was thinking, where should I have the lunch organized because I was not sure. I didn't even ask. Naresh simply said, just come and have it at our place. Done, over. That's it. So that's the kind of neighbors that I have. I don't even have to ask. They just know. Ingitagnya we call it. No? And then we have Mrs. Nalini, who is a retired social studies teacher. And grandmother of the two heroes of today's presentation. So she was the one, you were the one doing that to the line. Yeah. So, the Drishti thing. And behind her is Sarah. Sarah is another student of geography, one of my students of geography. She's currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in philosophy at Azim Premji, at Azim Premji University. Next to her is Meda, their gift. She's now, of course, I asked her, what are you doing these days? Exam, everywhere it's exam. So I can only say I'm sorry. So Meda is now getting ready for her college life beginning next fall, hopefully. Kanishk is an old student of geography, GOD, and very, very enthusiastic supporter of the work that we do, not just a former student, whatever you do, fine. No, he volunteered to do the recording today. Slightly masochistic, but you know what we do, there he is. So he is now getting ready to go to study in, where in Australia? Engineering in Australia, mechanical engineering, right? Okay, in Australia. He lives in Chennai. Next to him is Naman, which I just realized today is a palindromic name. Naman is my student currently living in Hulekal in Sirsi. Yeah, he is one of the students, one of my students now. With him is his father, Mr. Vinish. Mr. Vinish, I think you are conducting workshops for people about development, right? Okay. And standing there, trying to look innocent is one of the two higher authorities of these two guys. Purnima has been also extraordinarily, both parents, all the parents of my students have been very supportive people. So these two, no less. And then we have Nitin. Nitin is Dr. Mutata's spouse, himself a biologist, right? If I'm correct, a biologist. So we have a lot of doctors here today. And after that, there is Dr. Kabir Bhavikatta, who's a graduate of National Law School in Bangalore, which is when I first met him. He is part of a group of people who opened up all sorts of interesting spaces for people who are otherwise marginalized in society. This group established something called the Alternative Law Forum in Bangalore, through which they have been advocating for the rights of many people, any number of people. Amazing work. And most importantly, all done pro bono. All done pro bono. So our man is himself a legacy, and his legacy is also living. So suddenly I got a call from him one day, and we reconnected after many years. And that is Kate. Kate is Kabir's spouse, and our little Azadi. Azadi. I don't think he has met anybody he doesn't like. He's always smiling, welcoming of everybody. And there is Comrade Naresh, Geeta's husband, who is also my culinary director. So we go for walks every evening. During the walk, I keep asking, how do you make this? He tells me. Then I come back and make it, and it turns out wonderfully. So thank you all for making this possible and for coming here. They know me. They have my number. So what I would like to do is to play a brief, that audio message that Heidi Nass sent us, With that, we'll conclude this part of the event. There are other things we have to do, so don't go away. We have small surprises for you. ಯಾಕೋತೆ
ಯಾಕೆ
ರೀಲ್ಸ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓ ಐ ಸಿ ಒಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಐ ಸಿ ಒಟ್ಟು
ಅರ್ಧಂಬರ್ಧ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ
ಇಲ್ಲ I don't know what is it.
Is something anything there?
No signal.
Okay, yeah, it's back.
Yeah, it'll be
So, ಈ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗು
There.
open this.
It's all open.
ಇಲ್ಲೇ open ಇದೆ. Okay. Just open it and
What?
This one goes to that side.
okay.
We wanted that slide show, no? That's what we did.
ಹೌದಾ ಒಂದಿರಲಿ ಸಾಕು ಎಲ್ಲ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ವಿ.
See if it's there.
No, it's not coming here. It doesn't even look like it's connected. It's saying no signal.
Oh, okay.
I know what you've done.
Should I just play the audio or do we need the
ಬಟ್ ಇದು ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
It's disconnected. That's why I don't have to lose.
Lose connection, huh?
ಅದು ಮುಟ್ಬೇಡ.
Okay. Something happened. See?
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Is the photos coming?
Yes, photos come.
Is it full screen?
Just move it. Can you
I
move?
can't even see the cursor.
And,
Okay.
do you have an external mouse? It'll be very, very helpful.
Where is it? Can you tell me if it's...
I'll tell you. Push it to the top. Well, only you can't see. You can't mirror the screen.
I don't want to mirror it.
You don't want to mirror it. Okay.
ನೀವೇ ಕೈ ಹಾಕಿ ನೀವು.
Okay, wait.
Got it. There you go. Okay. Cool.
And now here I have to put the slowly of the audio.
ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಇದೆ ನೋಡು.
0, put to 0.
Start playing.
And volume
ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂಶ?
One minute, I have changed. Wait, I don't select LG2. Increase this volume fully because it's very faint.
ನಾನು ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಟ್ಯಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡ.
As executive director of
I don't think they got it.
Good afternoon.
Try to play it on your own speaker, see if that's louder. MacBook Pro speakers ka see if that's louder.
If I can have all of your attention, this is not loud enough for all of us to hear if we are speaking. So please pay attention to the audio. Yeah?
Good afternoon. As executive
That's
director
idea
of
only.
Gayrani USA, I have had the profound privilege of supporting the Institute of Geographical Studies for more than 2 decades. Your respect and enthusiasm for the discipline of geography has brought with it a great deal of curiosity and creativity. I have such admiration for all that you all have done and that we have done together. Many of you are not old enough to remember the first Youth Summit in 2014 or the one in 2017 where I gave the keynote address, Citizen Geographers. But all of the Youth Summit years are of a single piece. Our goal has always been to build a new way of imagining the world away from the strictures of mapping for extraction's sake or for taking away resources to undisclosed locations for the benefit of those we cannot see. The goal of TIGS is, in this sense, revolutionary. It has been looking at geography through the lens of poetry and freedom. It has devoted itself to exploring what the poetry of space might be. Guided by the creative impulses of Dr. Shekhar Balchandran, we have learned a lot. Most importantly, we have learned that the best geographers and the best geographies are those that emerge out of a desire to care for and tend to one another for the purposes of freedom. The Institute of Geographical Studies Youth Summit was one such geographical endeavor that we all, past and present, helped to create and feed. The poetic geography that Dr. Balchandran helped us to realize is born by thinking and valuing the word and work of relationality. To wit, Dr. Balchandran's many, many geographical inventions, one of which was the open mic, non-competitive singing geographies event held at every annual youth summit pre-COVID. Each person who took their place on the stage to sing a geographical song about the monsoons or the fertilizer-based suicide of a distraught Indian farmer entered intimately into a relationship with the listening us. They gave and we listened intensely and with interest, a gift of listening that gave back to the singer in an infinite reverberation into the universe. We created a publicly intimate space through song and singing. When in 2017 I went up on stage with my British colleague Sue Roberts, who had given the keynote that year in 2018, I got to experience the wonder of the relational, geographical firsthand. Sue had chosen the rather hokey song by a U.S. composer called John Denver. His song was Rocky Mountain High. Within seconds of us beginning our own singing, the student audience learned the name of the song and had downloaded the lyrics onto their phones and began singing along with us. The space of oneness created by the stage became the poetic space of two-ness that reached out across worlds, through the audience, and back to us again. This relational geography existed through the singing and the song. The poetic space, this poetic space, is stronger than any space made by brick and mortar. Its power is ironically measured by the lack of its permanence, by its livingness. Dr. Balachandran and TIGS taught us all how to sing, and today, how to cry together, making new geographies of care, connection, and community. To honor both, we now need to imagine on our own how we might move this geographical revolution forward. This is especially needed today, where planetary life is experiencing crises on multiple fronts, all of which have been brought upon us by the anti-poetic geographies of ownership and extraction. TIG's visionary premises provide us with new ways of imagining and working towards a post-Anthropocene world, one relational geography at a time. I am so grateful that Dayrani USA was invited on this journey. But the journey's not over. Of this, Dayrani USA is certain. We look forward to all the new life spaces that the TIGS family will bear and bring into the world and into a world future. Let's stay connected. Thank you.
Cool. Now for the, we have some small surprises for all of you. But first for the two boys here. Come. So by way of honoring our turn this side. Turn that side.
Now you have to eat.
Yeah.
One.
That's a good idea. Make them eat it.
No, you
Yeah.
said one, no?
Ah.
I think there must be 10.